to be looking at formulas and functions in Excel. Let's get into the swing of it. So I'm going to start off with sharing my screen. Okay, so the one of the biggest challenges that a lot of people face when starting off with formulas and functions is not knowing the difference between the two. So you've got formulas where you can do basic calculations within Excel, and then of course you can also utilize functions as well, which is also known as the built-in algorithm to do more complex calculations. So I'm going to show you guys the difference between the two, and then we're going to look at a more complex calculations, as well as how we can then use certain other tools as well with it. So first of all, yeah, I've got my formulas and my functions. I want to now calculate these items here. Now, when you're calculating or when you are starting off with a formula in a spreadsheet application, it always starts off with an equal sign. So say for instance, I want to calculate 1 plus 2, so I'll go equal 1 plus 2, and that will give me the result if I hit enter on it, okay? And here you can see it gives me the result, but on my formula bar, it actually shows me what I was calculating. Now in Excel, we won't use the numbers per se, but we will use the cell address, okay? So here I want to calculate these two items together with using a formula. So I won't type in the amounts, but I will select the cell address. So the first one will be under B, column B, row 3, and the second one will be still column B, but row 4. So here I would go equals, and I can type it in, but I can also select it. You will see that there's like a green frame around it to show me what I want to select. So now I'll click on that one, and I'll hit on the plus, and I'll move down to the second cell. I'll click on that one, and if I hit enter, it will give me the result. Now that is how we will normally do a formula. Now when it comes to a function, like I mentioned to you, it's a built-in algorithm to do more complex calculations, but in a simpler fashion. So now what you will do is you will still start your functions with equal, and here we will start with the basic, the most basic of functions is the sum. Okay, and as you can see, as I start typing it, it will actually come up with a drop-down menu to show me which form of functions that I want to use. So like I mentioned, that's the sum. So I just hit the tab key, and it will fill it. It will auto-fill it with the bracket, and now I can just select the cell range. Now, if you've looked at my basic Excel session, you can check out the video where I talk about a cell and a cell range. Here, I would select the cell range. And so I'll click, and I'll hold my mouse pointer down, and I'll just drag to the next cell, and that's my cell range. And I'll just hit enter, and it will give me the result of it. So you can see it comes to the same answer. So now I want to maybe go a little bit deeper, and let's work out the average. So yeah, I will go into my average and start the same way. Now, the way we calculate the average is the total of the calculation divided by how many items we've counted, right? So we will start equal. We will select our B3 plus B4, and we will divide that. Because it's 2 items, we will divide it by 2. There we go. So that gives me the average there. But we also have a function average. So if I hit the equal sign, then I start typing average, you will see there it will actually fill it again. We will hit the tab button, and now we can just select again our cell range. So it's the B3 and B4, and hit enter. And there you can see that it gives us the result for that one. Now guys, here you will see there's a slight difference between the two. So one is right and one is wrong. Beg your pardon? So the second one is definitely the correct one. The first one is not the correct one because, as you know, that or many of us has been in schools centuries ago. Okay, now the Excel still works on, maybe you remember this term, arithmetic operators. Okay, or maybe the word BODMAS will make a will bring a reminder to you. You know, brackets of division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. So these are the way Excel works. So if I look at the calculation here, I'm just selected and you will see it at the top on my formula bar. It shows there B3 plus B4 divided by 2. Now the way Excel works is not from reading from left to right. It will first take the division because division comes before addition. So it will take B4 divided by 2 first, and then the result of that will plus it by 3. That's why you get that result over there. So now I want to actually let these two be calculated first and the result then divided by 2. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put in a bracket because bracket comes before everything else. So by B3 and B4, there we go. And now if I hit enter, there you can see it comes to the same result. Okay. So this is normally how we would read, or how we should be able to read the calculation. So this brings me now to the next part, is the arithmetic operator. So this is how Excel sees it. Okay, so when it comes down to working out percentages, you don't still need to do a long calculation. You can just work it out by just using the percentage. So in other words, if I now say equal, I want to take 50% of 5,000, then I can just say times 50%. There we go. Okay. So we don't actually need to do like a comprehensive calculation, which can just use the percentage. The exponent number is the circumflex, right? Now the circumflex on the Mac is holding down Shift and 6. So that will give you the circumflex. So, or the exponent option or operator. So if I go equals, let me go 2 exponent 3, that should give me 8. Okay. And then of course there's the division and, multiplication and the division, which is performed before our addition and subtraction. Okay, so if you've got division and subtraction coming after your addition, then you must always then make use of the brackets if you want to use the addition and subtraction first. We can also use to compare values. So if I want to say equals 1 is equal to 2, and it will be false. I can also go 2 is greater than 1. That's true. And you know, I can do almost like my Boolean gestures I can do in Excel as well. So that is how the operators work. But let's go to something a little bit more detailed. So you've got a spreadsheet that's got a lot more items in it. Okay. And yeah, I can do some more calculations on it, but I don't need to actually type in a formula. I can do some automatic formulas as well. So first of all, I want to now calculate the totals of all of my branches, right? So there's a couple of ways I can do this. I can type it in, do the sum like I've done earlier on, select my range, and it will give it to me. Now, by the way, guys, if I want to see quickly what the result will be in Excel, if I highlight this whole range from B4 straight to B15, right, it will show you at the bottom what the total is. So you can actually see at the bottom of Excel what the total is, what the average is, and how many items were counted, okay? So it will give you that inside of Excel. Unfortunately, it doesn't work like numbers where we can drag it into the cells. It just gives it to you there. Okay, so yeah, I want to just do my total. So I'll just type in total here. I'll make it bold. And so the way I'll do it is I will, there's one way I can do it. Let me start with doing the sum. So I'll just equal sum, tab, highlight my range. So tab, drag it down, and hit enter. There's my one result, okay? Now I'm gonna do the next one. This one comes with, there's an option called auto sum. Now on my home tab button, I can find it under home tab button or my formulas tab button. There's auto sum as well. Under my home, you'll see there it is as well. Just want to use the formulas one for now. So if I hit the auto sum, it will just give me the calculation for it, and it will select it, the range automatically. Just be careful with this one, guys. I'm just going to hit enter. Okay, and it will give me the result. Just be careful with this one, because sometimes what will people do is, say for instance, they're calculating the range, but now they've added in a year as the heading. So if I make this 2012, right? Fix that, 2012, and change my format to general. So I've made that 2012, right? And I've now centered it. It's now part of my headings. When it comes to auto sum, and some of you guys might have see how this would change the spreadsheet or my result. So if I hit auto sum, it will take my year also into account. Okay, so just be careful when you're working with years and so on. What I would suggest is maybe just make it into a text format by putting in a year, a label, or a Y or CY, and then it will basically fall into text, and it won't do it. But if you have it in this way and you want to keep the year as it is, and you can still drag that line down and select let your range start off from that cell onwards. Okay, so I'm just going to undo all of this. There we go. And now I'm just going to hit my auto sum. Also, one thing about the auto sum, if you hit the auto sum, it will just do the total calculation. If you go to the arrow next to it, it will give you all the other options in terms of doing the calculation. Okay. For now, I'm just going to hit the sum. Now, the last option here, seeing that I've done these two already, right? You can also use the autofill. Okay, or autofill will automatically choose the one that you want to use. So yeah, if I now go into my my previous answer, for those who haven't seen this in my previous session, so if you want to autofill, you will see on that cell there's that little green square. If I move my cross onto it, it will turn into a black cross, and now I can just drag that up, and it will autofill the answer, okay? So if you've done the calculation in the one and it is correct, you can just drag it across and it will automatically fill it. So that is now the two ways we can now actually add in our answer. Now, when it comes down to doing the average and to doing the total amount or minimum amount or maximum amount, we can do all of this in the same way. But there is something that I want to quickly show you guys, and this is to do with cell referencing, right? So cell referencing refers to whether you want to keep it on a specific cell as you're doing your calculation, or you want to move it across. In other words, guys, if I now want to say for instance, want to see all of the figures from column D. So for instance, I go and I say equal D4, enter. So it will give me the total of that, okay? But now if I do the autofill, what it will do is it will automatically refer to the next cell below that, and it will put those answers in as well, right? So it will automatically go from, you can see that was equal D4, automatically D5, D6, and so on. Now, say for instance, now this is what they refer to as a relative value, okay, or relative cell. But say now, for instance, I didn't want to go and do all of that. I wanted to actually keep it on that particular cell over there no matter what. Then I can do what they call an absolute value. Now to do this, I can select D, okay? And then all I do is so it's gonna be $$B. So I do a special character on that. So it's, what I do is I put in a $D, $4, and if I hit enter, it will still keep the same result, but this time around, if I drag it down, then it will actually keep to that value, okay? So it will not change. It will keep it in that value. Now in certain calculations, you will see that Excel will automatically do the absolute and the relative values, okay? Now, you might say, but okay, right, where do you actually use this? So say for instance, we want to calculate something, but we don't want that cell to move. So in other words, I'm going to open another sheet to give you guys a good example. It seemed to have closed it, no problem. I can quickly find it. There we go. So cell referencing. Okay, so say for instance, I'm just going to change our VAT to 10%. Hopefully it's going to be there. Okay, I could leave it 15% as well. But now say for instance, I wanted to calculate the 10%, what 10% will look like of that amount. Okay, so now all I do is I can just go equal, select that, times this here, and that will give me the result. Okay, so at any point I can then change this around and it will change my value. But now I've got these other products as well, which I also want to calculate what the VAT amount's going to be. So now all I do is I can just go to the top and autofill it. Okay. But now what you will notice is that the result is totally different. It actually gives me a whole lot of gibberish on it. And the reason for that is if I look at the first calculation, right, on my formula bar, it actually shows the D3 times C2, okay, which is the one that we want. If I double click on it, it will actually show you, it highlights that gives me that, okay. Now, if I look at the one that gives me clearly an error, if I double click on that, you will see now it automatically jumped from my 10%. This is correct, right? That's what I want, but it automatically jumped to the next cell, right? Which gives me the incorrect value here. And if I go down to the next one, it then follows through, okay? So what I want to achieve in this one is actually, I want to keep it on the value that I've selected. So yeah, in my first calculation, what I will do is I would make this my absolute value. So I'll go and I'll $C, $2, okay, and enter. So it's the same result, but this time around, if I autofill, it will be correct, okay? Because now if I look at this, it actually kept to that value over there, and it just jumped to the next value. So guys, when I'm there, to get out of this, I just hit escape, And you can see there, it's that second one, and it keeps on that value there. So that's how you do it. Now I want to get my unit price exact. It's all I do is just hit equal sign, that minus this one. There we go, and I just drag it down. Okay, and now if I want to do the 15%, I can just go and change that value, and there we go. There they all fall into place. Okay. So guys, that is now how we can do our quick formulas and functions using relative and absolute values. So when it comes to more complex formulas and so on, we can go into something called a formula builder, right? So I'm just going to go and open another sheet here. We've still got some time left. So I'm going to go with Lookup. Okay, so in this sheet, I would like to find a product, right? By just typing in, say, the product code, and it should find the product. Okay, so with this, we're going to use a VLOOKUP. So all I do is I want to then find the product, right? So I will put in my equal sign there, and the formula I'm going to use is a VLOOKUP. But instead, it's quite a long formula, but instead of me typing it out, I'm just going to build it, right? So if I go to formula, so let me just move this away. If I go to my formulas tab button, I can go to insert function. Okay, and here it will give me a sidebar. It will give me a sidebar, and it will give me all the different formulas that I can use. Okay, now if I go into this and I say insert function, then it will give me where I can actually build it in. So what I want to do is, if I type in my product code, it must show me the product. Okay, so as you can see, I'm doing the calculation there. So my lookup value will be this one here, because I'm going to be typing the code in there, right? And my table array is my entire table, okay? So my entire table, so I'm going to select my entire table. So I'm going to go and select this one here. And I select my entire table. And my index, my column index, is the number of the column that I want the result to appear in, which will be B, which is in an index number 2. So it will be number 2. And my range lookup. And here, guys, what I'm explaining to you is just the way I understand it, but here at the bottom, it actually gives you all of the information, right? What it is. So my range lookup is going to be my logical value it finds to the closest match. So if it's true, it's omitted. If it's false, I just want to move this away quickly. It will find the exact match. So in this case, I actually want to find the exact match. So this one is going to be false. Okay. So now, guys, you see how long this formula is, and it just makes it much easier if I'm doing it in a formula builder, right? So now I hit enter. So now you will see it will come up with a not applicable error there. Why? Because I've not typed in something as yet. But let's say I typed in, I type into my product code, because this is my entry value. I typed in IPB. And it will show me iPad. Or I could go and I would say, I want to type in IPH. So this is a small little table just to make the example more clearer, but imagine you had a sheet with a couple of thousand, hundreds of thousands of items, and you want to pinpoint that one item, and you want to cross-reference if that item is in the sheet. You can actually just do a VLOOKUP and type the serial number in, and it will then capture it within that table. You know, so you just made a week's long workflow into a couple of minutes, right? Now you might say, Angela, but where does this whole true aspect comes in? Don't worry, I got you there as well. So if I go to I've got another table, sorry, worksheet in here. And here I would like to, so say for instance, I've got staff members, and depending on how many items my staff member sold, they will fall under a certain discount category, okay? So yeah, I want to work out the discount depending on the quantity. So yeah, I'm gonna select my cell where my result will appear. Again, I would go into my insert function. You don't want to type it out, guys, because this is where you're going to make the errors. And this is where the formula builder comes in very handy. So I say I want to insert that function there. Okay. And so now I'm going to go, my value is what I'm going to type in. So I'm going to type in the quantity over there, which is going to be LF2. My table array is the entire table. So this is the entire table I want to use. So I select that. Okay. And then my next one is my column index. And the index I want to return is column 2. So I'm going to say 2 there. And my range lookup this time around. Remember the previous one, we wanted to get an exact match. This one, we want to not bring in an exact match. So we're going to come in with true. So type in true. Okay, now what this means is, so then my formula is complete. Now what this means is I can enter an amount. So say if I say 1, it's 0. But say my staff member sold 2, or yeah, 2. It's still 0. Because of the true value, we don't need to bring an exact amount. So say for instance, my staff member brought in 6. Then it will fall into the next category. So anything between that number or before that, the actual number in my table, it will return that value. Okay. So now you guys know how to do simple functions. You can type it in, or you can just simply go into your formulas tab button, insert function, and you have a whole range of different functions that you have there, which you can select. And if you want to check up on it, guys, they will give you a description as well. And you can go to more help on this function. And in your Microsoft, they will even give you a little video to describe to you what you can do. So it's pretty detailed if you're working with Office 365 or 2019. Anyway, guys, that is my presentation. And now I open the floor for any questions.
Sorry, you may not have covered this. Could you just go back to the example where you had the 12 months in the 3 cities? That's it. If we take B16, the total for Cape Town.
Yeah.
Could one copy that to another sheet? Let's say we're working on sheet 1 and you want to take that formula over to something else, you're working on sheet 2. Could one do that? And then, so if any of the months change, obviously the total will change, and then hopefully that figure which you carry over to a next sheet will also change.
So say for instance, I'm just gonna open another sheet, right? So in sheet 1, so say for instance, I take this amount and I say copy. Okay. And I go to sheet 2, and I'm gonna just paste it in A2, right?
Absolutely.
So I can paste it, right? Right, but remember it's the calculation, so it's trying to do the sum. However, I can do the so if I do a secondary click, I can do paste special. Okay, so I can paste the I can do a straight on paste. I can paste the values, I can paste the formulas, and so on. Okay, or I can paste the link to it. So there's different ways of actually pasting it. So the mistake a lot of people make with this is that they think that there's just a paste, right? But you can, if you go to the paste special, It gives you all of the different options as well. Okay, does that answer it? Perfect.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
That's a good question. Thanks for that. I think it's going to help a lot of other people as well.
Angelo,
yes,
could
sir.
I ask a question on that, on exactly the same thing that you did? If you were on sheet 2, could you not just type in an equal sign, jump back to sheet 1 and click on the cell?
Yes, you can, but sometimes people want to actually do more calculations on that. But yes, sir, you're absolutely correct. So
that will work as well.
That can work as well. What Alan said, guys, it's a brilliant question. That is, you know, we are always in the Apple industry up to having our cakes and eat it at the same time, searching for the quickest, easiest, and the laziest way of doing something. So now if we want to use that in another sheet, I could have just gone equal sheet 1, select the total, and just hit enter, of course, and then it will be here. But it's the same as a pay special because you can see the result is the same there. However, one thing you guys would have picked up, I'm gonna go to the next one. If I do the pay special, if I say copy this, all right, copy, and I go to sheet 2, use formatting. I think it was values and formatting. Anyway, so now if I select it, right, sorry, I lost that other option, but it automatically made it into an absolute value, where this one is still a relative value. But I reckon you can still go in and just put in your dollar signs, then it will automatically change it into an absolute value. Okay. Anyway, guys, that is my 30 minutes of fame. Thank you very much, beautiful people. God bless and all of the best.